Okay, so this is a case study of a mid-career family that I met about 5 years ago and did some work with. They are typical of the 40-somethings, two career, two kids, and a dog kind of family that you would see on a regular basis. And so I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to walk you through specifically how I worked with this particular family, but also to give you an idea of how I might be able to work with a family like yours. So meet Jason and Melissa. They're a married couple. Jason is a professional engineer. Melissa is a law clerk. They are 46 and 43 respectively. They have two kids. Ethan is 10 and Sophia is 7. Their goals when they came to me initially were to finish paying off their mortgage, finish putting both kids through school, and by that I mean finish funding the RESPs. Retire in about 20 years with 70% of their current income. At the time, they had $260,000 left to go on the mortgage for their house. Their house had recently been assessed at $400,000. They had $24,000 in RESPs, $100,000 invested in our RSPs, non-registered mutual funds, and a TFSA at the bank. And in addition, Jason also had $50,000 in a group RRSP at his workplace. Their after-tax income was about $7,500 per month, which actually worked out to about $73,000 a year for Jason and $47,000 a year for Melissa. The average monthly expense, excluding their mortgage and current savings plans, was about $4,500. Their mortgage was at 2.5%. They started at $300,000 a few years ago and have been paying $1,344 per month since then, and it was coming up for renewal. So there was an opportunity there to talk about renewal. Their total expenses, including mortgages, and now was at $5,844 per month, which left them with a disposable income of $1,656 per month. Now, it's important to note when I say disposable income, that does not mean they have that much money sitting in their bank account and accumulating every month. Money has a way of going places if you don't tell it what to do. So their actual cash flow was significantly less than that, but on paper it looked like they could spend about $1,656 per month. So step one was to do a zero-based budget. What that does is it gets right down to what the actual core is of what they can spend. What we do is we spend every dollar on paper before the month begins, and then for 1 month we do not deviate from that plan. By simply being aware of where their money is going, the average consumer can cut 5 to 10% off of their expenses. In this particular case, Jason and Melissa were actually pretty good at budgeting, so they kept a close eye on things, so there wasn't really much that they could trim, but they also recognized that they could be a little bit more efficient. So that $1,600 of disposable income was actually pretty accurate. So step two, we looked at what kind of required investment was going to be needed to hit their goals. They had stated at the beginning that they wanted 70% of their current income in retirement. That meant $84,000 per year, or $62,500 after tax. They both figured they had a life expectancy of about 95, or 30 years in retirement. Their estimated CPP and OAS was around $30,000, which is pretty standard for a working couple, which meant that they had a required investment amount of around $975,000 if they were expecting a 4% return. If they could push for a 6% return, then they only needed to accumulate $775,000, or $675,000 at an 8% return, to pay out $32,500 per year, indexed at 2% for 30 years. Now, $32,500 per year is $62,500 a year minus $30,000 of CPP and OAS. So step 3 was investment growth. And the question is, how do we get $150,000 today to grow to $925,000 20 years from now? Option 1, win the lottery. Option 2, stop all current contributions and maintain an average return of 16%. Option 3, contribute $775 per month and maintain an average interest rate of 10.5%. Or option 4, refinance the house, bump the mortgage up to $320,000 with a monthly payment of $1,355 at 2%, which would be a negligible change to the budget, and then contribute $775 per month and maintain an average annual interest rate of just 8%. So it made the most sense to them to go with option 4. And the projection on that was that $210,000, that's the increase from what they could take out of the mortgage, plus $775 per month at 8%, got them to $900,000 and could generate a 30-year income of $3,000 per month, or $36,000 per year. So then we moved on to step 4. Step 4 was education. Now, the children will likely be heading off to post-secondary school in about 8 years, or the oldest child anyway, will be likely heading off to post-secondary education in about 8 years. Now, the average cost of a post-secondary education is currently estimated to be about $19,000 per year at that point. The RESP max contribution is $2,500 per year per child, plus government grants of up to $7,200. So, at $225 per month and a 6% return on your contribution, we could generate about $32,000 in 10 years' time, $43,000 in 12 years' time, with the government kicking in another 20% or so, to bring the total value to about $52,000 in 12 years' time. Step 5 was then to look at covering themselves. They both had existing life insurance through their employers of approximately 2 times their salary, and their mortgage was insured at the bank. But if they looked at their lifestyle and possible funeral expenses, that left a shortfall of $666,000 for Jason and $460,000 for Melissa. The way we calculate that is by looking at their current income and the number of years before their youngest child was an adult. So I proposed to them a hybrid term 10 life insurance policy with a whole life portion of $25,000. So $25,000 would be enough to cover funeral expenses, and then the remainder, $666,000, on a term basis until their youngest child is 18. That came out at about $120 per month for Jason, and then for Melissa, because it was a slightly lower number, $77 per month. So this broke down to an extra $11 a month on their mortgage after they did the refinancing. Their investment plan was going to cost them $775 a month. Their education plan was going to cost them $225 a month. Their life insurance was going to cost them $120 and $77 a month, respectively, which brought us to $1,208 per month in total, and left disposable income for them of $448 per month. Now, it says here on the slide there was no belt tightening required. That's a bit of a lie, because they were spending at that rate of $1,600 a month, but they knew that they could be redirecting these funds better. So they had to adjust some of their discretionary spending, but not a lot. It wasn't a big deal, because they still ended up with this extra $448 that they could do things with, like send kids to camp and go to baseball games and all those fun things. So that was the plan that I proposed to them. They liked it. They took it. And now, 5 years into the plan, they are on track to have what they had desired, which is comfortable retirement and well-adjusted kids. If you're looking for a plan similar to this, or you have a similar life situation and you want to know how I can help, feel free to reach out, and we can go through a process similar to what I did for Jason and Melissa, and see where it takes you. Have a great day.